with Dash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone, as well as giving the salutations to the Ration worldwide that's furthering this truth. And shalom to the brothers and as well as the sisters too that support what we do and what we saying. Once again, I got another video, dealing with the global food shortages, which out of all of the distractions which has been playing out, you have this situation that occurred at the Grammy Awards with Will Smith and Chris Rock, how Will Smith got up out of his chair and smacked him, which was all an act anyway. What they don't really want you to pay attention to, and as well as other things have been going on as well, is the fact that there's a global food shortage happening right now. And it's not just one country. Like this is going to happen on a global scale. And eventually it could very well be the ending of this year or possibly the next following year. All right. There's a lot of things going on in the world today. And as well as I also want to just briefly mention how Russia only wants gold at this point from Europe, because you have certain European countries that need Russian oil, but in order for them to get it, they gotta exchange it with gold. All right, and that's gonna be a problem for the rest of these countries. But just to get back to this now, you can clearly see now that the prophecy concerning the days to come, such as the days of famine, should I say, is right on the verge of happening. All right, and I just want to get into this article and then jump right into this particular article, and as well as a lesson too. So anyway, it reads 20 facts about the emerging global food shortage that should chill you to the core. A very alarming global food shortage has already begun, and it's only going to get worse in the months ahead. I realize that this is not good news, but I would encourage you to share the information in this article with everyone that you can. People deserve to understand what is happening, and they deserve an opportunity to get prepared. The pace at which things are changing around the globe right now is absolutely breathtaking, but most people assume that life will just continue to carry on as it normally does. Unfortunately, the truth is that a very real planetary emergency is developing right in front of our eyes. The following are 20 facts about the emerging global food shortage that should chill you to the core. And, there's been certain amount of people which have actually committed suicide. And it's more predominantly people that have already had money, that are wealthy, basically, because, they see that the time is going to come where this scenario is going to take place, where you're going to wind up going in your stores and it's going to be either, high prices concerning your goods, or there's going to be a lack of food in the stores, and it's not going to be the kind of food that you want to buy. All right. And, we have to keep our eyes on this, man. Like this is some serious stuff. This is actually taking place. This is not going to take place. It's actually taking place, and the famine is right upon us. And I was checking out this particular IURC Passover, which was basically a part of it was a fashion show or something like that. And they actually named it that. This is not the time to set up fashion shows. The reason why you set up those the only reason why you would set up those fashion shows is because you're comfortable or you're happy. You're not, there's nothing to complain about. But we're in a world where there's going to be a lot of things coming down the pike. The time ain't to be dancing around and doing, fashion shows, man. Like we're in a time where the world is about to blow the fuck up. Excuse my French. Anyway, let's get back into this. It says Number one, one of France's most important government officials is telling us that we should brace ourselves for an extremely serious global food crisis. France's Foreign Affairs Minister Jean Yves Le Drian, I can't pronounce that, said the EU must get to grips with the prospect that the war in Ukraine could prompt an extremely serious global food crisis. Number two, Joe Biden recently admitted that food shortages are going to be real, and his administration is now openly using the word famine to describe what is coming. And that's what they're going to bring by purpose anyway. They want to bring a famine because what they really would like to do is to get rid of a large portion of the the amount of people that's getting on their nerves. I gotta be more diplomatic with my words because they could take the video down, right, off the face of the earth. So they're gonna use the weapons such as disallowing the food from coming in, because the food is always going to be there, but they're going to hoard the food this time. They're going to stop the flow of food from getting into the stores. And then at the same time, it's going to push people to cow down to their NWO, their one world system, with you only just receiving that MOTB device, which is what they want. So they're going to use a lack of food as an instrument to push you, to sway you, so that you can be accepting whether you want to, let me use another word. They're going to push the people to make the decision to coincide with their one world system. All right. It's being reported that food prices at German supermarkets will soon go up between 20 and 50%. That includes Aldi as well. Just read a brief article about that as well. So it reads, just days after Germany reported the highest inflation in generation, with February headline CPI soaring at a 7.6% annual pace and blowing away all expectations, giving locals a distinctively unpleasant deja vu feeling even before the Russian invasion of Ukraine broke. What few supply chains remained and sent prices even higher into the stratosphere. And I just want to briefly say that the whole Ukrainian situation, they just use that as an excuse to prop up the prices and to say that things are not going right because of that war over there. But there's really no war as a big deal. There's really no war going on as they're making it out to be. So that's a reason to inflate the goods. Because you got to come up with a reason. You can't just do something if there's no reason. You got to make some, especially these devils. These devils are liars. So they got to, before they do something, they got to come up with a reasoning to do something which is what they really want to do. All right. And we've been saying this first at the Great Nelson. We've been talking about how your food is going to hyperinflate and all of this other stuff due to the currency, or it could just be because they're going to lie and say, oh, it's because we're at war with this country, and that's the reason why we're heightening the prices, because there's a lack of goods in this and that and the third. So therefore, as well as rising the prices, we might have to ration things out, which that's what they wanted to do anyway. All right. Oh, let's go down here. See, I wasn't even checking this out. Number 4, rationing has already begun in Spain. I didn't even know that. In Spain, the country started experiencing sporadic shortages of different products like eggs, milk, and other dairy products almost immediately following the outbreak of the war in Ukraine. In early March, major supermarkets like Mercadona and Macro began rationing sunflower oil. All right. Rationing also is in Greece. So before I read on, I want to get to some scriptures, and I want to read first the book of Edras. So it reads, for the Lord knoweth all of them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for the Most High shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. So the ultimate plague, which will wipe away a large portion of people out because of their sins, and as well as our people, including, according to the book of Zechariah 13:8, the Lord is going to use the element of the Lord is going to use a plague such as a famine to come. And that's going to do the job of getting rid of the wicked ones among our people. So I just want to read something else. And it's also, this is the plague. This is 2 Edras 16 verse 14. Behold, the plagues are sent, and he shall not return again until they come upon the earth. Verse 16, let's get to the point. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. And one of the plagues which will be brought upon the face of the earth is famine. Verse 19. Actually, verse 18, the beginning of sorrows. Let's begin by reading verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, and the beginning of famine and great death. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So that's what's going to bring the great death, is famine, right there. See? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a moment. So when we go back and we read the book of 2 Edras 15, once again, let's read this again. For the Lord knoweth all of them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. Okay, so the ones that are continuing to sin and that do not want to withdraw from their wicked ways, that do not want to repent, that it even includes the ones of our people that know they're Israelites. If they don't want to repent, this is what they're going to be delivered unto. Famines. That's the plague which will take a lot of people out. Let's read it again, just one more time, and then I'm going to move. I'm going to go back to the article, and then we're going to get, and then we're also going to deal with this topic and leave it on a positive note. So it reads, once again, we're going to begin by reading verse 18 again. Actually, verse 19. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a moment. But for all these things they shall not return. All these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. This is the point that I wanted to get right here. This was the verse. This is the exact verse that I wanted to get. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there's going to be a lot of death that's going to pursue this planet. And it's not going to just be in one country. It's going to be globally. And it's all going to be due to this plague of famine. This is the vision that Edras had, a prophet. All right. He predicted a time, which is what we're coming into right now, as he saw it in the vision. And like I'm going to say, and like I've said before, you've heard it from the prophets first. We've been saying that, we've been talking about this from time, even from a time period when people thought we were crazy, nutcases. Now we don't look like much of a nutcase, do we? Because the reality shows in these times that it's a possibility that a famine could be taking place. This is it right here. And this is not just the only article that's out there. There's a lot of articles like these articles that's been airing out throughout the weeks about the food shortage. And as well as the president himself, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, said it himself. Let's read it, what he said again. Joe Biden recently admitted that the food shortages are going to be real. And his administration is now openly using the word famine to describe what is coming, because they're going to bring it. All right. All of these elitists, they're going to bring the famine to come, because what they want to do, like I'm going to say again, they want to eliminate a large portion of as they call the useless eaters off the face of the map, and also those that are resistors in the wing, hopefully we can push them to cow down to accept their one world system. That's why they're going to use famine as a weapon. All right. And it's ultimately not even them doing it. It's really the Lord that's going to set this thing up. The Lord is going to cause this to happen. And the Lord is going to use these men as in the positions of power, as it is written in the book of Proverbs 16 and verse 14, that the Lord have created all things for himself, yea, even the wicked. So he's even created the wicked for what? For the day of evil, because the wicked is going to be instrumental in bringing in the evil day. Why? Because of an amendment. The amendment of their sins. So I want to get that. So this is it right here. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation, and in anguish are sin and scourges for amendment. But for all these things it shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So all kind of hell is going to be breaking loose, and they're still going to not turn their heart around and consider the wrongs that they do. So eventually the Lord is going to get rid of them. And this is how he's going to do it, by setting these men up, like I said, to cause this thing to happen. All right. So now I want to go back to the article. Excuse me. Let's go back to this. Fast forward. We're going to go back to this. So yeah, let's go all the way down and let's read 6. Matter of fact, let's read this because I didn't read this. So it says rationing has already started in Greece. In Greece, at least 4 national supermarket chains have started rationing food products like flour and sunflower oil due to critically low supplies caused by the crippled supply chains coming out of Russia and Ukraine. And I remember some weeks ago I did an article on how they was going to ration out diesel and gas, and automatically the thought dawned on me that there's a possibility, just by reading that article, that they're going to start rationing food. And I brought this article out based on World War II. And in World War II, as the article showed, that they were actually rationing food even at that time because of the war. So they're going to go back to doing that all over again. It's going to get to the point where food is going to be rationed out. And it's already gotten to that point in certain countries. So this is, let's read 6. The head of BlackRock is warning that this will be the very first time this generation is going to go into a store and not be able to get what they want. On Tuesday, BlackRock Inc., and we know who owns BlackRock, right? Or you should know. If you don't know, then you should do the research. President Rob Capito told an audience in Austin, Texas, hosted by the Texas Independent Producers and Royalty Owners Association, that an entire younger generation is quickly finding out what it means to suffer from shortages, according to Bloomberg. For the first time, this generation is going to go into a store and not be able to get what they want, Capito said. And we have a very entitled generation that has never had to sacrifice. Exactly. So if they've never had to sacrifice, what do you think it's going to be? It's going to get wild out here. Like it says in the scriptures, disregarding their kings. It's going to get to the point where you're going to have seditious among men, and as well as disregarding their kings and their princes, not having no respect for government. Since this time last year, some fertilizer prices have gone up by as much as 300%. That's a lot. Many farmers in Africa will not be able to afford fertilizer at all this year, and it is being projected that this will reduce agricultural production by an amount capable of feeding 100 million. Let's read that again. Many farmers in Africa will not be able to afford fertilizer at all this year, and it is being projected that this will reduce agricultural production by an amount capable of feeding 100 million people. And that's nothing, man, because there's more than that in Africa. If you combine the amount of people in total in Africa, it's way more than that. So this is their way of thinning the herd, have you will, as the saying goes, and pushing people to accept their one world system. Let me read this. It says, Russia is a key global player in natural gas, a major input to fertilizer production. Higher gas prices and supply cuts will further drive fertilizer prices higher. Russia is one of the biggest exporters of three major groups of fertilizers: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Physical supply cuts could further inflate fertilizers prices, therefore causing more of a possible famine to happen, because you need fertilizer to grow your food. So we can already see man, that a famine is being set up. And these elites, they're doing this by purpose, but ultimately we don't want to give them all of the credit, because ultimately it's the Heavenly Father that's putting it in their minds to do what it is that they're going to do. Because ultimately the Lord is going to be the one judging the wicked among our people, especially. All right. Hence is why it's called Jacob's trouble. Every nation is going to get involved in this trouble. However, the Lord is getting at Jacob, to be exact. Why? Because Jacob is scattered abroad all over the four corners of the earth. So ultimately, this whole entire global famine, which is forth to come, this is aiming at the sons and daughters of Jacob. This is what this is. And as well as it's going to bring in the time of the temptation, which the elect will persevere and survive. Here's how. Now we're going to leave it on a positive note. Let's read the book of Job, the 5th chapter, because we've already declared through the Holy Spirit, we've already shown that the Lord is going to deliver these plagues unto those whom he knows that are sinning against him. So now what's going to happen to the righteous? What's going to be their reward? Let's read the book of Job, and we're going to begin at the book of, at the verse of 13. We're going to begin at verse 13, right? Not verse 13, excuse me. Verse 19 to verse 20. So it reads, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Verse 20, in famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. And thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, and neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. And at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, and neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. So 2 major things are going to be taking place: destruction and famine, which are going to be 2 things which will consume this earth. 2 dreadful things which will consume this earth. And when these things take place, we're going to be laughing. So the Lord has to have already, in that time, when that time comes, because everything's already been played out. So all it really takes is for it to actually happen in the physical plane. All right. But it reads, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, and neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth, because the Lord is going to take care of us. I'll be right back. We're going to be taken care of, but we got to hold our faith in that time, because also in that time, we're going to be tried to see whether we're going to stand the test of time, whether we're going to cow down to accepting that MOTB, because that's what Esau is going to do. Esau is going to use this famine as a weapon, but as it is written in the book of Isaiah 54, he's going to use famine as a weapon. Isaiah 54 in verse, I think it's in verse 10 or something like that. I hate when it does this. It's verse 17, Isaiah 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. And this is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. And yes, in that time, which is forth to come, Jacob's trouble, which will include the famine, we're going to be taken care of. Like I just said, simply put. But to make sure of that, we got to keep doing the work, and as well as keep our prayers up to make it sure that we are the elect, to make it sure, and it's really through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, to give us the mindset to do what we're doing so that we can be delivered of the elect. Excuse me, so that we can be of the elect and be delivered. Okay? But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. I just wanted to make the point on this whole food situation and all of that stuff. What I'll do is I'll get into this sometime later on. And, you know, we'll get into this right here. Probably sometime tomorrow. But, yeah, with that, I say shalom.